So stand in your Tadasana, inner edges of the feet together, chest lifting, draw the fingertips down towards the floor. Now make sure that the inner edges of your feet are together, that your toes are spreading, that you're getting equal weight onto all of your toe pads. Take the weight slightly back into your heels, lift your kneecaps, lift your thigh muscles, lift your frontal pelvic bones, and press down with your fingers as though your fingers have each got little weights on them, so they're pulling down and your head is extending up. So we're going to take the arms out to the side. So just stretch your fingers out to the side, and it's as though somebody's pulling hold of your arms to move them out of their sockets. Breathe. And now when you bring your arms down, it's as though you're pressing the air down with your hands, with resistance. Stretch the arms down, extend the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Good. So just stand in your Tadasana for a moment while I demonstrate the next pose, which is Trikonasana. We're turning the feet and extending into your Trikhanasana. Most of you are familiar with this. So from Tadasana, if you have a back problem, hip problem, you step your feet, or a knee problem, then you step your feet. Otherwise you jump, toes pointing forwards, arms stretching out, tailbone long, kneecaps lifting. Come up onto the heel of your left foot, pivot the toes in 15 degrees, turn the whole of your right leg and foot out to 90 degrees. Rotate this right leg, make sure that the heel of the front foot lines up with the instep of the back foot. Stretch out into your fingertips, extend, lengthen, and come into your Trikonasana, triangle pose action. So we draw up the front leg, kneecap, thigh muscle, make sure that front leg is straight. Press firmly into the outer edge of your back foot. Roll your ribs through. Stretch up this top hand as though you're being pulled up towards the ceiling with it. Breathe. And then come up out of the action. Turn the feet to face forwards. We're going to go straight to the other side. Right foot slightly in, whole of the left leg and foot turned out. Extend into the fingertips. So as we go, we're lengthening the side waist. Don't let your pelvis drop onto your thigh. So we're not letting the frontal pelvis, this area here, drop down. We have to lift up. So we lift up in this area here to ensure that this side flank extends. Press again into the outer edge of your back foot and keep the front leg strong and straight. Keep looking straight ahead. The hand comes down to wherever it comes down to. It might be somewhere on your shin a little higher than I'm showing here. All right, now stretch into your top arm. Use that back leg, top arm to lift you up out of the pose. Turn the feet to face forwards. Step or jump the feet back to Tadasana, mountain pose. Stretch down with the fingers, extend up with the crown of the head. We're going to come into Pavrita now. I'm just going to show two ways of working, either with the hand here, arm goes across unless you've got a shoulder problem, in which case you can either have the hand here or here. Those who are able to take the hand down, you take the hand down, arm goes across, and you turn and rotate. Okay, so let's do that together. Step or jump the feet wide. Slightly wider than Trikhanasana for Pavrita. Extend, stretch into those fingers, lift your chest, turn your feet. Left foot in 15 degrees, whole of the right leg and foot out to 90. Get the rotation. Really rotate that front leg, really stretch out with the fingers, lift out of your pelvis. Now don't drop onto your front leg as you bend to an angle, and then either the arm comes down onto the thigh or the hand comes behind the outer ankle as you take the arm across. So top arm, you stretch from the outer edge of the back foot into the fingertips on that left side. Breathe. The weight on this right hand shouldn't be excessive. Make sure you put your thumb down if you've got your fingers down onto the floor on this right side. Move your knee back, your right knee back towards your right inner elbow. Come up out of the pose now, and we'll go straight to the other side. So as I say, we're moving quite quickly today. So it's quite an intense action. So stretch into your fingertips, breathe, bend, lengthen. Keep that length on both side waists as you're coming into these actions. Fine inhalation, exhalation. Don't let this top arm bend at the elbow. It's very tempting to let it bend, but we use it as a lever to stretch that side waist. Press firmly into the outer edge of the back foot, and then use your top hand and your back leg to lift you up out of the pose. Turn the feet, step or jump back to Tadasana. So let the breath steady and settle. Chest lifted, fingers extending down, crown of the head lifting up. So we're coming into Paragasana. Now I'm going to use a foam pad under my front foot here. Some of you will be able to get your front foot down onto the floor. Some may just not need the height of a foam pad. You might find that you can do this just onto a rolled blanket, something like that. So this is the action for Paragasana. So we'll be going into it this way, and then stretching the top arm up, and then we'll do a second time where we turn the palms, slide along, and take the top arm over. So it's an extremely strong stretch on the flank. Now for those who have difficulty with their knees, I'm going to show a different way of working in the inset. So you can have a look at the inset and see what you'll do if you have problems with your knees in this pose. Not everybody's comfortable kneeling. I've folded my mat over. You may find that you don't need to if you're working on a carpet. Kneeling on the left hand side of your mat, press down with your shins, press down with the fronts of the feet. Take your right leg out and stretch out to your foam pad and lengthen the toes along it. So some of you will be able to get to the floor, and that's fine. If you can get to the floor, you get to the floor. If not, then just work with the pad. Stretch the arms out, extend into the fingertips, lift your chest. Keep this rotation on your front leg, lengthen and extend, and take your top arm up. So we're keeping that length on both sides of the waist, the rotation strongly in that front thigh. Breathe. Okay, coming up, and we'll go to the other side. So I'm just going to move forwards here to do my left. So again, pressing down into the legs, the lower legs. This heel lines up approximately with the inner knee on your back leg. Stretch your arms out, lengthen, extend, keep rotating, and take your top arm up. Fine inhalation, fine exhalation through the nasal passages. Okay, coming up, so we're going to repeat that, and we're going to go more into the classic action. Now if you found that your foam pad was actually a little unnecessary, it was a bit too high, then you can try with a rolled blanket. I'm just going to show this time around. I've just got that folded blanket there, but that will be fine. So it's a slightly softer support, and you can press down a little more if you found that you're not quite getting your foot to the floor, but the foam pad's a bit too much. So get this rotation, stretch the arms out. Now we're going to turn the root of the arm, extend into your fingertips. We're going to take that arm down and then slide the hand down your shin to wherever it will go. But remember, we don't lose the rotation in that front leg. Rotate, rotate, rotate. And then the arm comes over. Breathe. Okay, coming up. Well done. We'll go to the other side. So we're extending, but we've got to keep this rotation. I know I keep on about it, but it's really important that you don't lose that rotational action. And don't drop this hip. So we're not dropping into the pose when we come into it. So stretch out, lift up, rotate the arms, extend, lengthen, keep this height, take the arm down, keep the rotation on that front leg, slide the bottom hand, extend the top hand, press with your right shin into the floor, into the mat, and breathe. Okay, coming up out of the action now. Just have a quick look at the next action that we're going to do, which is a Pavrita Trikonasana action. We're going to be taking the feet apart for Pavrita Trikonasana. You can see that I've got my back to you, and I'm just stepping the feet. Today, you turn your back foot in. It's not enough to turn it in 15 degrees. It's got to be turned in more. So if you don't have the flexibility in your ankle to turn it more, lift up onto the ball of the foot, turn it so that it points to the top left-hand corner of your mat. Then turn the whole of your right leg and foot and turn your pelvis. Now the chair needs to come about here because we're going to turn and take the hands down. So your left hand will come onto the seat of the chair, your right hand comes onto the back of the chair. Now if you've only got a stool, that's fine. You can just place your left hand onto the stool and just place your right hand onto your sacrum. So we're going to look forwards and turn. All right, and then if you're able to, you take your top arm up. So let's do that together. So it's probably best if you start out like I am with your face away from the screen so that when you start coming into the pose, you can see the screen again. Step your feet apart, lift up onto the heel of your left foot and turn that in deeply. Now, if you're unable to turn the toes so that they point to the top left-hand corner of your mat, lift up your heel and pivot on the ball of your foot so you turn already. Now, when we turn the whole of the right leg and foot, then we bring our pelvis with us. So you've got your hands here to move your pelvis so that it's facing now towards the narrow end of your mat. Lengthen your tailbone, press into the outer edge of your back foot, so that back leg heel anchoring down, lift these frontal pelvic bones, and we're going to turn. So we're getting this revolving action. The chair should be by your right outer ankle. Place the left hand onto the seat of the chair, the right hand onto the back of the chair if you've got a back. Now look at the front of your mat as you start to use those two fulcrum points to get the rotation in your spine and your torso. Keep pressing down into your back leg heel bone, lengthening your spine towards the narrow end of your mat. So if you've got your balance, you can take your top arm up. All right, release and come to the other side. Turn the back foot in, that's your right foot deeply in, lift up and turn a little bit more, and then really stretch into that back leg heel. It's strong on the calf muscles. If your calf muscles are tight, you know this is quite a strong action. Then use your hands on your pelvis to turn your pelvis, lengthen your tailbone, lift through the frontal pelvic bones, draw up the front leg and kneecap and thigh muscle. So then we're going to turn and rotate. This rib region turns, turns, turns. Hands down onto the seat of the chair, press down into that back leg. Now the temptation can be to let your head come this way. If you can see the back of your mat, you're going around the corner. Look at the front of your mat, the narrow front edge of your mat by your left big toe, and then start to turn. Start to turn. Use the chair to give you that rotational action in your spine. Press firmly into the outer edge of your back leg heel. So you've got to really push back into that. So if you're able to, you're going to take your top arm up. Breathe and releasing out of the action. Turn the feet to face forwards, step the feet back into the center, stand in Tadasana, extending the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Okay, well done. And coming to Adho Mukha Virasana. Toes together, heels apart, stretching forwards, releasing the head down. So just let the breath steady and settle in this pose. Quite a strong sequence of standing poses there. We're going to come now for Pavrita Trikonasana. So we're going to work again on a couple of foam pads. Okay, that's it. Okay, so you can sit in your Pavrita Trikonasana now on a couple of foam pads. Make sure that if you were drawing a line from the center seam of your trousers, you will have an equal angle to each foot. I'm not directly on my mat at the moment because the way I've got them positioned here is makes it too difficult to do that. But we're getting the legs nice and wide. Roll your shoulders back and down. If you've still got your bricks there, you can place your bricks either side of you and press your hands down into your bricks to lift up. Now it's a little more challenging working in a seated pose with the legs out wide like this. You don't have to take them as wide as I've got them. And certainly if it compromises your pose by making your back go into a C shape, or making your legs bend, or making your feet flop over one way or the other, then you certainly bring your feet a little closer together. But you come to the width that you can, but stay on the center of the heel bone. Draw up the kneecaps, draw up the thigh muscles. It's as though you're pulling these legs back into the sockets. Lift your chest broad across your collarbones. We're going to take the arms up into Urdhva Hastasana again. So release your hands, inhale, stretch up. So again, keep the abdomen moving back towards the spine. Keep extending into the inner heels. Move your upper arms towards your ears. Stretch into your fingertips. Don't let your ribs pop forwards. Keep your ribs sober. Move your frontal ribs back into your body. Keep breathing. Keep your legs active. Don't let your legs go off to sleep. Spread your toes. Pull your toes towards you. Keep the sides of the neck soft. Don't tense up in the back of the neck. Don't tense up in your throat. Now we're going to turn the arms again so that the palms face forwards, and then out to the sides, and push the arms down as though you're pressing heavy air down. Okay, put your hands back onto your bricks, lift your chest, and now bring the legs back into Dandasana. How nice that is when you come back into it. Okay, all right, we're coming into Shavasana now. I'm just going to roll the front edge of my blanket up for the back of my head. It's really quite nice to do this. Of course, it's probably going to flip out now. You can have a bolster underneath your knees if you wish to do so. So this little roll goes underneath the back of the neck, just supporting the neck area. The bolster comes underneath the back of the knees. You can lift up and lengthen the back of the pelvis, turn the palms to face the ceiling, and let your eyes close.